baseball, we lost Willie Mays at the age of 93. Hall of Famer, a legend who impacted the sport off the diamond as well. A man who was looked up to and loved for so many decades. His passing touched many.
As a young kid, you know, the guy that my dad talked about and being able to meet him for the first time, you know, wore 24, he wore 24. The say hey kid, they call me the kid. For me, just to be able to have that time with him on and off the field, it's a lot.
What always came off was he needed to say hey kid. He had that brilliant personality, infectious and genuine, and I got to tell him that he was the greatest player I ever saw.
In this game here allows you to meet some tremendous players and people, and I get to spend a lot of time with Willie and my tenure up there, and sad day. I was fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time with that man, and of course what a legend he is. Could be one of, could be the best, greatest player of all time. That's how good he was, with some of those greats.
You know, what he meant to the game, what he meant to, California, all the Giants fans out there, especially me growing up, he wanted to play like Willie and, make those catches that he did. And it was bigger than baseball, man. It was something special, and, the baseball world is definitely missing a great one. Got a chance to meet him, and he showed me a couple things about throwing the baseball in from the outfield, which I still remember, and, got a couple cool things, that are signed in my childhood room still, so pretty cool.
In a statement, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred posted, his incredible achievements and statistics do not begin to describe the awe that came with watching Willie Mays dominate the game in every way imaginable. We will never forget this true giant on and off the field. Jackie Robinson's daughter, Sharon, looks back on the legacy of Mays.
From the moment my dad, Jackie Robinson, debuted with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947, African-American youngsters who dreamed of being major leaguers awoke to new, exciting possibilities. Youngsters like Willie Mays, a high schooler from Alabama, who would sign that summer with the Negro League's Chattanooga Choo-Choos. Thus began the Say Hey Kid's march to the majors, to Cooperstown. Even before his dazzling 1951 Rookie of the Year season with the New York Giants was completed, Mays was a coast-to-coast phenomenon. 5'2" player, you needed two hands to count what Willie had in his toolbox. A perennial all-star for 2 decades, the center fielder with the 500-block personality, smile, and style infused poetry in most every player. That he did so for a quarter of a century cements the argument that Willie Mays was the most exciting player ever to grace the major leagues. If you disagree, consider this. For a period of 8 seasons, when the World Series trophy never left New York, the one argument that never ceased ricocheting throughout the 5 boroughs was, who you got? Willie, Mickey, or the Duke? Finally came the answer when Mickey Mantle, flanked by his 2 fellow Hall of Famers at a baseball writers' banquet, turned to Mays and said, Willie, you were the best. That night, Willie Mays wept.
The Dodgers releasing this statement on Willie Mays. The Dodgers pay tribute to the incomparable Willie Mays. From the East Coast to the West Coast, he dazzled baseball fans, leaving behind cherished memories for generations. For the Dodgers, there was no finer rival. We mourn his loss and extend our deepest sympathies to his loved ones. Speaking of the Dodgers,
This is SportsCenter from Los Angeles.
hello and welcome to SportsCenter from Los Angeles, along with Stan Verrett. I am Linda Cohn. We begin with the passing of a legend, the
1965 book The American Diamond, a documentary of the game of baseball, former executive Branch Rickey was the first to use the term five-tool player. That's a player who could field, run, throw, and hit for both average and power. He said it fit only two players at the time, Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays. Mays died peacefully Tuesday at his home in the Bay Area. He was 93 years old. We will devote much of the hour to celebrating his life and legacy, and we begin that with Carl Ravitch.
Willie Mays is one that everybody knows.
He's an iconic player, the epitome of what it means to be a great all-around baseball player.
He's one of those special players that don't come around too often.
Best center fielder of all time. He do everything.
You know, you want to be just like him.
Willie Mays did not just play baseball, he performed it, like an artist, leaving an indelible impression on anyone who saw him.
Willie was a theatrical personality, a man of unbridled joy on the ball field, a complicated figure off it perhaps, but on the field he gave you not only your money's worth in effort, but he made your heart sing.
Born in Alabama in May 1931, Mays was a three-sport star in high school, but he excelled at baseball and gave up his amateur status to start playing in the Negro Leagues.
I had to stay in school, so I played Saturday and Sunday when school was in. When school was out, I would go on the road with them.
After signing with the New York Giants, he didn't just break into baseball, Mays burst into it. He batted .477 in 35 games at AAA before getting called up, where he immediately became one of the greatest acts in the show.
There are five things you can do as a position player in baseball. Hit for power, hit for average, run and throw. There was not a thing he couldn't do. And not only that, but his intelligence in playing the game.
His territory was from foul line to foul line, just stay out of his way. Fresco Thompson, the general manager for the Brooklyn Dodgers, said Willie Mays' glove, where triples go to die. Wow.
Mays' physical ability, his power, his speed, and his own level of expectation had people shaking their heads from the moment they saw him play. Routine plays for Mays were impossible feats for others. 1951 was his rookie season, and his first hit was a home run off future Hall of Famer Warren Spahn, who realized that one swing may have altered the history of the game. Spahn said of the home run, "I'll never forgive myself. We might have gotten rid of Willie forever if I'd only struck him out." That same season, Mays helped the Giants erase the Dodgers' lead in the standings, and he walked from the on-deck circle during Bobby Thompson's home run. Drafted into the service in 1952 during the Korean War, Mays managed to play more baseball than anything else on the Virginia military base, but still lost nearly 2 full seasons of his major league career. When he came back to the majors in 1954, his career took off. He won the Most Valuable Player award. The Giants won the World Series, and Mays was elected to his first All-Star game. He ended up playing in 24 of them. It was Ted Williams who said they invented the All-Star game for Willie Mays. It was Williams, along with Joe DiMaggio and Stan Musial, who inspired Willie to greatness.
He was so dominant. So many All-Star games, so many Gold Gloves. I mean, he did so much for the game that he's going to be remembered more so for him, Mr. Mays, the Say Hey Kid.
The nickname, the Say Hey Kid, is alleged to have been tagged to Willie for his calling out to teammates not by their names, but with a hey or a say hey. If one singular moment captured the greatness of Willie Mays, that iconic play would be the catch. Game 1 of the 54 World Series, Cleveland's Dick Wirtz drives a ball deep to center in the 8th inning of a 2-2 tie.
As I'm running, I'm not worried about catching the ball. My biggest problem was, how am I going to get this ball back into the infield? If I didn't catch the ball, the guy on second is going to score. The guy on first is going to score.
Collectively, Mays' career numbers are unmatched. There's only one other player who had at least 2,500 plus hits, 600 plus home runs, 500 plus doubles, and 100 plus triples. That's
to me is the greatest all-around ball player I've ever seen. And I've seen so many great ball players.
Mays retired in 1973 with the Mets, finishing his career in New York, where it all started. Through baseball, Mays connected with generations of fans, whether playing stickball with the neighborhood kids in Harlem early in his career, or orchestrating a team of black players for exhibition games late in his career. His enthusiasm for the sport was contagious. The game brought him fame, but not a fortune. His currency are the numbers he put up and the memories he created. His statue now fronts the Giants ballpark at 24 Willie Mays Plaza. And in San Francisco, every May 24th, they celebrate Willie Mays Day. His plaque has been in Cooperstown since 1979. His legacy will live forever as perhaps the best baseball player of all time.
When Barry Bonds came up with the Pirates, he wore number 24 in honor of Mays, who was his godfather. Bonds posted on Instagram Tuesday, "I'm beyond devastated and overcome with emotion. I have no words to describe what you mean to me. You helped shape me to be who I am today. Thank you for being my godfather and always being there. Give my dad a hug for me. Rest in peace, Willie. I love you forever." With the hashtag, say hey. The hashtag, of course, in reference to Mays' nickname, the Say Hey Kid.
The death of Willie Mays comes 2 days before the Giants were set to face the St. Louis Cardinals at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, a game that intended to honor Mays and the Negro Leagues. It was announced Monday that Mays would be unable to attend. Mays grew up in Alabama, began his pro career back in 1948 with the Birmingham Black Barons, as he helped the team to the Negro League World Series that season. On Tuesday, a minor league baseball game was held at the historic Rickwood Field. Rickwood Field, the oldest professional baseball stadium in America, and the place where a 17-year-old Willie Mays made his Negro League debut in 1948. 76 years later, the players and fans, many donning Giants gear, honored the life of the Alabama native with a moment of silence and a standing ovation during the game. It was an emotional scene at the field where Mays began his Hall of Fame career. Our own Clinton Yates joins us now from Birmingham. And Clinton, an emotional scene at Rickwood. Can you share some of the conversations and impacts surrounding Willie Mays' passing?
I've been in Birmingham for 4 days for the week leading up to the Rickwood Field celebration, which of course is the game that's going to happen between the San Francisco Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals to honor the Negro Leagues. Willie Mays is from Birmingham. This is where he first broke onto the professional scene as a 17-year-old playing for the Birmingham Black Barons in Rickwood Field. So when the news broke, being in that ballpark with so many different things around, dedicated to not just Willie, but a lot of people who came before him. Linda, I've been in this business for a little bit now. I've never been in a situation that was that surreal. Willie Mays Pavilion literally sits just past the foul pole in left field. And there, I was there next to guys like CeCe Sabathia, Dexter Fowler, talking about what we're going to do sort of as a community to make sure that this weekend coming up is going to honor him the way that we wanted to. But unfortunately now, we lost.
As you know, Clinton, Mays was a part of 24 All-Star teams. He won 2 MVPs, 12 Gold Gloves in an incredible Hall of Fame career that had tremendous impact both on and off the field. So what does his legacy mean to this entire sport?
I think that Willie Mays is the type of character that when we think about what superstar really means, that's Willie Mays. It wasn't just about baseball. It wasn't just about numbers. The Giants were one of the highest selling road teams in the decade of the 60s just because Willie was there. He meant what star power was for this league. We showed up to watch that guy play. And beyond the baseball, we're talking about somebody who was in the Army. We're talking about somebody who found himself on TV a lot. Somebody who was in the public eye quite a bit, but you never heard of him getting in a ton of trouble for anything. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, there was none of that. He was just an example of what it meant to be dedicated to your craft. He played every game dang on near, and you know, I think about my dad, and he was telling me all the time, like, there's Willie Mays. If you see that guy ever, make sure you stop and talk to him, because I never got to see him play, but it was one of those things where archivally and vocally, through, you know, the lore of your family, you know who he is. We lost Hank, we lost Jackie, we lost Willie. They're all living in the same kind of general sphere of influence and love from not just the black community, but the baseball community overall. And so I do think there was a slightly cathartic feeling for those that were in the park, because when people ask you, where were you when you heard that Willie Mays passed? Well, I was at the place where he first started his professional career, and there was something kind of full circle about that, that at least for me, as a baseball fan for life and a journalist who writes about baseball, particularly black players, it brought it all together. And as sad as it is, it's kind of an interesting place to be.
Yeah, thank you so much, Clinton, for sharing these stories, and we appreciate so much your perspective on this.
Anytime.
We'll have much more on the life and legacy of Willie Mays throughout this show, including why Tim Kirchin believes Mays is the greatest player he's ever seen.
Also coming up, the resurgence. In 2015, then President Barack Obama presented Willie Mays with the Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in our nation. And President Obama was one of those remembering Mays on social media Tuesday. He said Willie Mays wasn't just a singular athlete blessed with an unmatched combination of grace, skill, and power. He was also a wonderfully warm and generous person and an inspiration to an entire generation. I'm lucky to have spent time with him over the years, and Michelle and I send our deepest condolences to his family. CC Sabathia was in Birmingham, Mays' hometown, on Tuesday. He said, "I'll never forget this day when I walked in and heard, that's that boy who wears his hat like this." R.I.P. Willie Mays. You changed the game forever and inspired kids like me to chase our dream. Thank you for everything that you did on and off the field, always in our hearts. When we lose one of the all-time greats on the field, it's great to have one of the all-time greats who covered those on the field. To put it in perspective, Tim Kirkton joining us now on SportsCenter. Tim, let's start with the big picture view. How will you remember Willie Mays overall?
Well, I'll remember him as the greatest player that I've ever seen, and arguably the greatest player of all time. Stan, when he broke in 1951, the game had never seen this kind of combination of power, speed, and defense. And here it is, 73 years later, and I believe Willie Mays is still the greatest combination of power, speed, and defense ever to play the game. He's the only player in Major League history with a 300 average, 300 homers, and 10 Gold Gloves. And he hit 302 with 660 homers, 12 Gold Gloves, and led the league in steals 3 years in a row. He might be the greatest base runner of all time. He is, for me, the greatest defensive center fielder of all time. And Stan, as you know, he did all this with a style that nobody else has ever played with. That basket catch has never been duplicated. So the guy that we saw in 51, the guy that I saw hit a home run in the 65 World Series, this many years later, he is still the greatest player that I've ever seen and most people have ever seen.
You mentioned his base running. I saw a stat that blew my mind. He hit into only 45 double plays in 24 years in the major leagues. That's incredible to even think about. You mentioned the catch in 1954. That's the image that's always associated with Willie Mays. Give us some perspective on that play when he robbed Vic Wertz at the Polo Grounds.
Right, well, Bob Feller was on the Indians that year, and I asked him about that catch, and he just looked at me and he said, "Oh, we knew he was going to make that catch." It's one of the greatest catches of all time, and all the Indians thought we weren't even surprised that he caught it. And Willie, who is unbelievably humble for someone as great as him, told me once that's not even one of the 10 best catches that I've ever made. And most people look at that as the greatest defensive play in the history of postseason baseball. That's how great he was defensively. There wasn't anything that he couldn't do. Johnny Bench called him the perfect baseball player. Ken Griffey Jr. called him the godfather of center fielders. And when I asked Frank Robinson once, is Willie Mays the greatest player you've ever seen? He looked at me and yelled at me. He said, "Of course he is. Who else would be the greatest player of all time?" That's how great Willie Mays was.
I heard you sharing a story about watching him for the first time on color television in 1965 and the impact that may have had on people getting to see him.
Yeah, Stan, I was a hopeless baseball fan by the time we got to 1965. But that's the first game that I'd ever watched on a color TV. And Willie Mays led off the 65 All-Star game with a home run. And I watched him run around the bases, and I thought to myself, can there be a better looking in every way baseball player than this? He was my boyhood hero growing up, and I grew up 3,000 miles from San Francisco. That's the kind of reverence that people had for him. Everyone in our neighborhood, 3,000 miles away, loved Willie Mays, because all you had to do was see him once, and you were hooked forever.
Yeah, his first manager, the great Leo DeRozier, said, I never taught him anything. He taught me. Willie's the greatest player I ever saw. No doubt about it. Tim, we appreciate the time and the information.
Thank you, Stan.
The accolades endless when it comes to Mays. He became the second player to reach 600 career home runs, and he ranked 6th all-time. He's a 2-time MVP, a 24-time All-Star, tied for second most all-time, and a 12-time Gold Glove winner, tied for the most by an outfielder. He was the first ballot Hall of Famer in 1979.
In case you missed it earlier, the Oilers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Walter Atkinson Jr. lost another legend, a baseball player. Willie Mays has died at the age of 93. So, this is Walter Atkinson Jr. About to get the fuck away from my YouTube channel, so peace out and have a good day.